I was just trying to slide on by all sneaky as if my own body wouldn't know what I was doing. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Madeline. You should be proud of me. I finally set up a mirror so I can kind of see what's going on. So maybe my hair doesn't look quite as crazy as the last video. Yeah, it looked like I had just rolled out of bed, but that wasn't the case. Also, I don't know if you can tell, but I am wearing mascara again, which is very exciting. So a lot can change in a week, which I think makes YouTube kind of tricky because by the time I was able to edit and upload my last video about my skin breaking out and whatever was going on with my eyelids, a lot more happened with my health. My conclusions about what was going on with my skin have kind of changed as more continued to happen with my body. So I just wanted to take you through what my week looked like and explain my symptoms, kind of the conclusions I came to and what I'm doing to kind of turn things back around again and feel better and feel like my normal self. So based on everything that happened, my conclusion was really just that this was a big inflammation flare-up. You may know I have nail psoriasis, which essentially that plus other things I kind of deal with health-wise all tie back to chronic inflammation. And so I think this was just a very large-scale inflammatory flare-up for me. So where I left off last time, it was very much a skin-based issue. I had a really horrible acne breakout where my skin felt really stubborn and like lacked elasticity. The pimples were really deep and sprouting up everywhere, including places where I normally do not break out at all, like my forehead. I was pretty shocked because I do typically have kind of large clogged pores and probably get like 1 to 3 like small surface level pimples every day. But on the worst day of my breakout, I stopped counting when I got to 50 really deep pimples on my face. And on top of that, again, my eyelids were itching like hell. On the worst day of this, I woke up with swollen, rough, dry, flaky eyelids. And like I said in my last video, it literally felt like I had poison ivy. I think at that point, I was starting to think that it had to do with new skincare products I was using, which was kind of ironic because I was switching over to some like non-toxic clean skincare products, and I thought my skin wasn't reacting very well to this, and I thought maybe the eyelid situation had something to do with mascara that I was using. However, as time went by and I started to feel other things happening, I started considering other factors. Knowing that I struggle with psoriasis, I try to be pretty aware of like dietary and environmental stressors because I understand that all sorts of factors can play into inflammation. However, I'm really good at observing these things, but don't necessarily have the best self-discipline. For example, I plan super healthy meals, but then in between, when I see sweet treats or coffee or alcohol, I can't say no, and that's kind of where things fall apart for me usually. And despite saying I need to go to bed at 10:30 every night, it always ends up being midnight, no matter what. So I've still got lots of work to do. So as I said in my last video, we moved, and so that meant eating out every meal for several days in a row. And we also moved to a really cute, very walkable area where we can walk to a bunch of restaurants and cafes, and so we wanted to try out all the new places. And then the week after, my family came into town, so we wanted to show them all the great restaurants and cafes. And so that kind of turned into lots of coffee dates with vegan chocolate muffins and fried food and beer and all sorts of wonderful things that are totally fine, enjoyed every now and then, but it was kind of constant through this period. And at the time, like, things were still feeling pretty good for me, so I was just trying to slide on by all sneaky as if my own body wouldn't know what I was doing. And ever since we moved, I haven't been so great at packing in the produce either. On top of this, I was having like an aversion to water. Instead of drinking like 5 large water bottles of water every day, I was drinking about 2. But all I wanted to drink was coffee and not water. So I was definitely dehydrated, and like I mentioned, I wasn't staying on top of my supplements, so I wasn't taking the Diatomaceous Earth every day, and I took a big break from taking the Ritual vitamins, which I had been seeing great success with before. When we moved, there's actually a gym really close to us that I can walk to, and so I got a membership and I started going to the gym, which was great, and I started training more intensely, like with weightlifting and things like that. However, I also understand that that could be causing some inflammation as well. And maybe it was more so the shock to my body, because I just kind of jumped straight in and started lifting heavy and going like 5 times a week, which I definitely was not doing before. So I might need to scale things back a little bit and focus on a little bit more gentle exercise. It's going to take some work to find a balance there, I think. Also, the seasons are changing right now. We're getting some really warm weather. There's a lot of pollen in the air and it's raining a lot. That could be having some sort of effect on my body, I'm sure. And finally, right before this kind of flare up, I had a particularly stressful day at work, which could most certainly have set this whole thing off. So as you can see, there were a lot of factors. Everything from what I was putting on my skin to what I was putting into my body and how I was moving my body. And I was also feeling more stressed than usual. Apparently for me, and I'm sure for anyone, it's a huge recipe for disaster. At the point where I was seeing crazy things happening with my skin, I knew that I needed to cut back on the coffee intake. I knew all along I shouldn't be doing that. And luckily things were starting to settle down here, so we started eating at home a bit more. So my eyelids kind of quickly calmed back down. But a few days later, I felt so run down, like just totally beat and tired, a little bit depressed. After work that day, I took the evening just to chill out and not overexert my body or anything and just have some miso soup. And so the next day I did feel a bit more energized, but my mood was still definitely pretty low, and I'm still kind of recovering from that. My body has kind of felt fatigued through the end of this week, and I am having a little bit of a hard time feeling happy and good despite how beautiful it is outside and how many wonderful things are happening around me in my life. And so honestly, it's kind of a frustrating feeling because I don't want to feel like this, and I really just think it's an imbalance in my body that I have to work through. So another thing I was feeling this week was kind of like a burning in my stomach and esophagus. So with this, the fatigue, low mood, stress, and increased anxiety, skin breakout, and eyelid dermatitis, which I think is kind of the blanket term for whatever was actually happening on my eyelids. Not to mention that I was also lacking confidence due to my skin and not wearing any mascara because of my eyelids. It was kind of a rough week for me, which certainly did not help the mood situation. Also, my nails are painted, so I can't see them right now. So I'm kind of nervous and worried that I've totally undone the work I did the past couple of months healing them, which kind of sucks. And I really hope I haven't entirely backtracked. Anyway, the fact that I was feeling all of these things at once to me is a great indicator that something is wrong and off balance in my body, and that all of these symptoms are connected and I think tie back to inflammation. Because of my additional symptoms, I believe that whatever was happening with my skin was in fact related to what was going on internally rather than anything I was actually using on my skin. I know it's confusing and a lot to take in since there are so many factors that can contribute to inflammation, but I think this just goes to show how much the little things can add up, how much control we really do have, and how important it is to treat these things holistically as a lifestyle instead of spot treating. So when my crazy breakout happened, I ran to a skincare company that I have very much trusted in the past, though I did try new products during this time, which might seem crazy to introduce more to the equation. However, this was like the best thing I did during this week. It turned my skin around. I'm a huge believer in healing from the inside, but I can tell I'm on my way to the best skin I've ever had. I'm still healing up some of those deep breakouts I've had, but the rest of my skin is honestly looking better than ever. Stay tuned for a video on that because I will most definitely share what those products are and show you the amazing progress and results I've had in just a week. I'll probably wait a little bit longer to hopefully have more progress to show you. And my eyelids have not been a problem since that really horrible day. They completely returned back to their normal smooth, soft texture and have only been the slightest bit itchy. So that's fantastic news. And like I said, I'm kind of on the way back up to hopefully my normal mood and energy level. Towards the end of the week, I will pick the camera back up and hopefully show you the plan I'm kind of implementing moving forward to really start to heal things and get myself back on track. I know this might not be like the coolest, most positive video ever, so thank you if you've stuck with me through to the end. I really hope it helped you to start thinking about your body and your mind and your diet and your lifestyle as all being interconnected. And if you're experiencing similar things, I hope it made you feel less alone. Despite how much this sucks, I kind of love that it puts me at ground zero and that I get a chance to kind of start from scratch, if you want to call it that, to measure my progress and watch my body heal. I think learning to listen to your body is one of the most incredible things you can do. I love the planning phase of getting back on track and the challenge of making changes. Unfortunately, this next week for me is going to be a bit crazy and different as I'm traveling for work. And with my motivation being kind of low, I haven't done a great job planning for this week. So I'm regretful to say to myself that I will probably continue through the week not making much great progress. That being said, I've been doing some research and getting inspired and learning new things about approaches to diet and healing inflammation, so I am looking forward to getting towards the end of the week and starting fresh kind of with the next weekend. And I can't wait to share that getting back on track journey with you. I hope you are feeling well and doing great, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.